This video debunks and corrects a few of the lies in Reverend Kent Hovind's video, quote, "Lies in the Textbooks," unquote. I only took the time to debunk the first 9 minutes of that video.
I was a high school science teacher for 15 years.
There is no evidence to support that claim, even though Reverend Hovind makes that claim at the start of every lecture he is given. Evidence suggests he is lying. In the year 1975, at the age of 22, Hovind became an assistant pastor. In the 1980s, he opened a Baptist church where he pastored. In 1989, Hovind started his creationism evangelism. At no time was he ever a high school teacher. When I personally and face-to-face asked Reverend Hovind on 2 different occasions for the names of the high schools he taught science in, he evaded the question and changed the subject. Many dozens of other people have asked Reverend Hovind the same question, and he has never answered it.
The Bible teaches that God made the entire world in 6 days, about 6,000 years ago.
No, the Bible does not teach that. Nowhere in the Bible does it say the world was created about 6,000 years ago. Some people, mostly Bible believers, have inferred 6,000 years, but their inference is hopelessly flawed. Reverend Bishop put the creation date at 4004 before current on a Monday, believe it or not, in the evening around 9 o'clock. And if you don't believe me, you can look it up.
4,400 years ago, there was a flood. Noah built a big ark and saved all the critters on board.
There is zero evidence for a huge, monstrous, worldwide flood. 40,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, or 4 million years ago. However, there's a great deal of evidence for small, localized floods that have occurred over billions of years. Science knows nothing of a global flood.
The people used to live to be 900 years old.
There is no evidence that people ever lived to be 900 years old. There is a great deal of evidence saying otherwise.
And there's probably a few dinosaurs still alive today.
No, there are no dinosaurs still alive today. They all died out around 65 million years ago, unless you want to count the extant birds, which are descended from a dinosaur. But I don't believe Reverend Hovind was counting on birds.
Like Loch Ness Monster.
Reverend Hovind apparently believes there is a Loch Ness Monster. However, no sane person, presumably, believes there is a Loch Ness Monster. The original myth of the Loch Ness Monster was generated by elephants who had been brought to the loch to bathe by gypsies. Locals then created a Loch Ness Monster myth for tourist attraction. There is no Loch Ness Monster.
But tonight I want to talk about lies in the textbooks.
I would much rather talk about lies in Reverend Hovind's lectures. However, if Reverend Hovind knows of any lies in any textbook, he should go to a school board and get those lies corrected. Instead, what does he do? He goes to churches and gives sermons. This is very odd behavior for someone who claims there's lies in textbooks that he objects to.
Public school teachers need to be taught. You can teach the Bible in your public school class. You can teach about creation. There's never been a law against that.
One can fling one's clothes off in public schools and run around naked. However, one may not do so. The same is true of teaching creationism.
One guy believes in evolution. He looks at Grand Canyon and says, "Wow, look what the Colorado River did for millions and millions of years."
Evolution is not something one believes in. Also, Grand Canyon is a geological formation and has nothing to do with evolution. Therefore, evolutionary theory, by the way, does not address the Grand Canyon or anything like that. The field is geology, not evolution.
The Bible-believing Christian stands there, looks at Grand Canyon, and says, "Wow, look what the flood did in about 30 minutes.
Reverend Hovind is here claiming that a Christian has to be ignorant and uneducated regarding geology to be a Christian. I find that not only false, but insulting.
They're ignorant of the creation, and secondly, they're ignorant of the flood.
Scientists are not ignorant of the creation. They have a very good understanding of how the universe was created. Also, they are ignorant of the flood because there was no flood.
Charlie's grandpa, Erasmus Darwin, really wrote a lot of the book that Charlie plagiarized.
No, Charles Darwin did not plagiarize from Erasmus Darwin. There is no evidence to suggest this, and there is a great deal of evidence to suggest otherwise. Reverend Hovind has personally been corrected by me, and I have seen him being corrected by others in this lie, and he still spews that lie. Why do you suppose that is?
So evolution was already being taught around the turn of the century from 17 to 1800.
No, it was not. It is impossible to teach evolution.
Charles Lyell was a lawyer from Scotland. He hated the Bible.
There is no evidence that Charles Lyell hated the Bible. However, he did correct many of the falsehoods that are found in the Genesis. It should also be pointed out, it doesn't matter if he hated apple pie, mom, hot dogs, and baseball. All that matters is that he was correct.
Over and over in his book, you see evidence of his mocking the Scripture.
Pointing out flaws, errors, and mistakes in the Scripture is not mocking it. So in conclusion, I have pointed out that Reverend Hovind never taught high school, public or private, as far as anyone can tell, and he certainly did not teach science. He is bloody ignorant about the subjects he pretends to speak about. And I also wish to point out that many of his lies I have personally corrected for him to his face, and he still spews those lies. The Bible warns people about lying for the sake of God. See Job 13, verses 2 through 14. Also, Jesus himself in the book of John said that Satan is the father of lies. Since Reverend Hovind is spewing lies, that makes him a son of Satan.